Zepbound weight loss, brutally honest truths that are going to give you an unfair advantage on day 5, day 6, day 7 of your Zepbound weight loss. Hi, beautiful friends. On today's episode, we're going to talk about when is half-life dose. And if you don't know what that is, we're going to talk about how using half-life dose is going to give you an advantage in 4 separate ways that is going to propel you way further along on your rocket launch of a journey versus other people who are on Zepbound or Tirzepatide or Wegovy or other friends, and why this is to your advantage and actually an unfair advantage that I've utilized in my 106-pound weight loss. I was somebody who was morbidly obese, barely could buckle my safety belt on an airplane and had to be embarrassed after a seatbelt extender. Couldn't ride roller coasters, got escorted off of roller coasters for being too big. Now to somebody who rides horses because I'm not going to crush the horse. I'm an active mom, I'm an active wife. And most importantly, I've changed my life completely. If you go back and YouTube has it all documented of what I was like and what I'm like now. And my life is totally changed. And I want to help encourage you to change your life too. So let's dive in. So the brutal truths about half-life dose. First is, what is half-life dose? That's what we need to first talk about. And then we can reverse engineer back for you of how you're going to really use this. It's very much an unfair advantage for people who don't know this data. First and foremost, half-life dose is when you have, and there's Mr. Freddy, my co-host, Wilma, my other dog may pop into. Half-life dose is we're ramping up with our appetite suppression with Zepbound. And we feel most of those the effects. And on day 5, day 6, day 7 is when day 5 is when half-life dose starts. So after that, for me, and the data also tells us, we are going to experience less appetite suppression. So if you're like, gosh, I'm hungrier than I was, totally normal, that clocks. And if you feel hungry, ladies, earmuffs for gentlemen, if you feel hungry before that, maybe your period starting or your cycle or hormones are playing a factor. I definitely had a major hormone shift with my period. About month 3 or 4, you can go back and see that video in my playlist as well. So going through on, if you had Monday, for example, as your shot day, Monday is day 1, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's day 4. Then we see this half-life dose happening on Friday, day 5, half-life dose, Saturday, day 6, Sunday, day 7. That is where for me, I have the least appetite suppression during the week. Peak for me is on day 2 and day 3. So when I take my shot on Monday, I feel that effects on Tuesday, Wednesday. Now for you, you need to track it on my website, countessofshopping.com, and I'll link it in the description link below. I have an injection tracker. It's a free printable for you to help you figure out your own data because it may be slightly different, and hearing other people's data, it's different. Obesity is a disease, and so there's different spectrums with that disease, so you can't classify everybody as the same because it's not the same. That's an unfair thing. So one of the biggest shifts to help propel you with now having that information is the mental shift. Literally, your body is going to do its thing. There was a whole other video I talked about with a 35% reduction in lunch in the quantity in which people ate with taking Zepbound and Tirzepatide and semaglutide Wegovy. 35% reduction in their lunch. And the people who were in this study got to eat whatever they wanted. It was a free choice. It wasn't like, oh, you need to eat this. They got to pick, and it was a 35% reduction. Can you just imagine a 35% reduction in your plate and serving size? Like, hello. So is your environment setting up to support these things? If you're feeling that reduction, for me, one of the things I talked about was simply just changing plates. Why do I have such big plates when I'm not eating as much? Is that psychologically going to aid my weight loss, having big plates, or hinder my weight loss? Is it going to aid in eating less food, or is it going to hinder eating less food? For me, I feel like I should fill up a big plate. So for me, switching plate sizes over, big difference. It does not have to be expensive. You could just test this theory out for you because, again, you may be different from me, but literally test it out on paper plates and see how that works for a week. Are you consuming less food? Does it help with your weight loss journey? So these mental shifts, as we go through with the data, these mental shifts best supporting along this information that we have for day 5, day 6, and day 7. Next truth is literally learning when to put the fork down. When to put that spoon down, honey. Utensils down, Rosen Island. When to actually put our utensils down. For me, it took me, because I came from being morbidly obese and a background of having 3 plates full, like 3 helpings, learning how to put my fork down took me time. And it sounds very slow, but I'd rather tell you how slow I am and be a turtle, fellow turtles unite, than be like, oh yeah, I knew exactly how to handle my appetite suppression. It was a very foreign feeling for me of like, oh, I've been chasing this my whole life, of feeling like wanting to feel full and being like, okay, my body's giving me signals I'm full. Put my fork down, put my utensil down, put my spoon down. I don't need to keep going. My body's giving me cues. Let's listen to that. Boom. And so I even had to set up like a little note one time when I was eating, pause, put your fork down. And it literally, I look at my dogs because they go into their meals and they're like, they eat very quickly. And so we have tools to help aid them to eat more slowly. For me, I don't need to keep eating like that because this medicine has helped me so dramatically, so much. It's amazing to be like, oh, I'm full, fork down. So is your mental shift supporting your physical new shift? Is your environment setting you up best for that success? And for me, this concept of reminding, like putting a little note, put your fork down, just was a loving, with grace, love, and kindness reminder, babes, you don't need to keep those coping tools that you had are no longer best serving you. So what are other coping tools, and feel free to put in the comments below, I'd love to read yours too, that no longer serve you, that you're looking to shift. And that leads us to part two. Part two, for brutally honest truths to give an unfair advantage for day 5, day 6, day 7 of Zepbound weight loss, are physical shifts. Within that, Eli Lilly tells us in our literature that we need to, change the way that we move. For me, I could not start lifting and doing all these physical changes within my first year. Like I said, I'm slower than most, and coming from a morbid obesity background of now I've lost over 106 pounds, weighing over 300 pounds. That physical shift I could not work in until after the first year. It was all of my energy was devoted into the first component of mental shifts and setting up an environment that best supported me changing my eating habits. So eating habits was number one, and then moving over to number two to move into the physical realm of changing those behaviors. That for me took a hot moment. So if you are like that too, you go at your own pace. We had our Austin meetup here this past weekend. It filled my heart, it filled my soul, and I absolutely love seeing all of our Austin, Texas folks. I can't wait to do our next meet and greet. It was so fun and so awesome. And one of the awesome group members was just talking about, she just started, I think it was like 6 weeks in, and was like, I'm not focusing at all on physical. And I'm like, good, I didn't either. And other group members were like, I totally focused in on physical at the beginning. And I'm like, good, that's what you need. Like, we've got to figure out what best meets our needs and matching up our environment for that. But for me, I want to take off the pressure. If you feel like you have to do all these physical things, for me, it was literally focusing just on the body cues, the body signals, and setting up food changes to best support this medication, which I don't think people talk about as much. Like, we do need to be lifting, right? Because of the muscle mass loss, it's really important to get in lifting routines. And down on my playlist down below, I have hundreds of videos. And I've got a recent one talking about specifically lifting for muscle mass loss, so check that one out. But physical shifts, that is one of the things that I didn't do in my first year. Now you figure out what's best for you and best supports you on your weight loss journey. Tip number 3. Beautiful Jamie, tip number 3 was the one who recommended this to me and has been a game changer of doing weekly calorie tracking. And I used to be like mean kitty. When someone talked about calorie tracking, mean kitty, I would not want to do it. Now I actually don't mind it because it gives an honest appraisal of literally just a math equation of what I'm eating. It is not emotionally charged the way it used to be because now I have the ability to put my fork down. Whereas before it was an uncontrollable thing, and rightfully so. I had this missing GLP hormone deficiency. And so super, super helpful now to be like, oh, okay, the GLP-1 deficiency, I'm having this injection to help aid in that. I can therefore track my calories, and it doesn't hit the way that it used to. It used to be like, oh, I'm such a bad person because I can't hit these weekly, these daily goals. For me, because going back over to the half-life dose for that day 6, day 7, day 5, day 6, day 7, what best supports that? For me, I'm hungrier on these days, so I eat more food on these days. That makes sense for me. And I noticed this pattern recognition because of tracking, which I wouldn't have noticed if I hadn't been tracking. So a track number grows. So my encouragement for you is if you are finding on day 1 and day 2 day 2 and day 3 that you're not eating as much, then maybe do weekly tracking with that. Maybe that makes the best sense for you. And for me, that has been really, really helpful to use to my advantage when I have peak appetite loss because it's not as painful. And not that this is painful, but it's less friction. What is the less friction on my weight loss journey to use this best tool for me? So when I'm hungriest the most, and when I'm least hungry, and then just adding for the week long, day 1 through day 7, and a mathematical equation of literally tracking that for the week. And then that tells me, okay, am I a calorie deficit for the week? Does that take me more time to do it? Yes. Am I still looking for ways to track this? Yes. I use the free app MyFitnessPal, super, super helpful to tell me on a daily basis of tracking, but to figure out my daily calorie range on countessofshopping.com, I do have a calorie calculator, and you can play with that number. There's 3 different, to give context on this, there's 3 different types of calculators that can be used to figure out your daily calorie range. We picked one that seemed the best. I'm not a dietitian. I will always punch you to a dietitian because they have the best education level to help. So check with the dietitian. But for me, that number has changed as I've gone through. As I've lost more weight, as I've gotten more physically active, there's been a lot of factors in that have also changed. But I do want to say that calorie tracker, just because that's your number today, does not mean that's going to be your number in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. So going back to that, maybe you want to bookmark it on your phone, on the countessofshopping.com website of that. So you can go back in every so often and look. For me, I was actually eating too little of calories. I had 1,500 calories was my goal, and that was way too little for what I've been doing and my height. I'm almost 6 feet tall, my activity level, all of the things, and my age and all that stuff. So use that calorie to help you figure out the daily one. And then I just multiplied that by 7, times that by 7. And then it's a big equation versus the daily changes that happen as a result of day 5, day 6, day 7 with the half-life dose. That's the next one, tip number 3. Tip number 4 is social outings. If you are a very social person, surprise, surprise, I am not a very social person. I am social, like I like being around people, but I don't like leaving my house really. I realized that on my last 5 business day trip that I just got back from. I like being at my home. And my husband was like, you are a homebody. And I'm like, I know. So if you have social situations of where you're going out or you're frequently out, this tip is for you. For me, not as much, not as applicable in terms of social outings. I'm also in my 40s as opposed to being in my 20s or 30s. Or maybe you're a retiree. I call my dad a socialite. He is a retiree socialite. He goes out every single night. Him and my stepmom are like, they're so cool. I'm like, you rock on with your bad self. They're very, very social people. And so if you're in that season of your life, because we do have different seasons of our lives, then this may make more sense of your dates or your shot date of being the most hungry. If you go out on the weekends, for example, then does that make the best sense for you to have half-life dose, meaning you're going to be hungrier? Is that helpful? And going back to our environment, is our environment helping to aid our weight loss, or is it hindering it, right? Does it make sense to have more appetite suppression on Friday, Saturday, Sunday if you took your shot date on Monday, for example? Or does it make more sense for you to have it being like Monday, Tuesday or whatever, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for your half-life dose? What makes the best sense for you? For me, I rather be super, super full on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday because I can power through with work and it's very distracting to me. Today, as I'm making it, it's a Monday. It is now 2:30. I've not eaten at all today. And I'm actually okay with that. It's not that I'm malnourishing myself. It's not that I'm engaging in disordered eating. I'm actually very intentional with my body right now. I had some electrolytes. I had some decaf coffee. I've had a bunch of water. I am not hungry. After this video, I have an amazing high protein, very fiber rich fruits and vegetable meal waiting for me after, which I'm really excited to eat. We've got our dinner lined up, really excited to eat. I am not hungry today though. I am not going to force feed myself. Now you do you, but I'm not gonna force feed myself. So leaning into this weekly, this is why I love you, Jamie, leaning in, this is why my free group is also so helpful because you get these amazing tips too. Leaning into this weekly calorie tracking for me made the most sense. When I first started, I could not do that. I am 2 years into this. So if this is your first month, first 6 months, just figuring out, going back to the beginning of when to put my fork down and what were the cues for being hungry. So I have been dealing with side effects, to be honest. Like, how does one handle blowout diarrhea when you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to poop my pants and I'm on this beautiful date and I'm in this elegant outfit and I feel like I'm going to completely poop myself. Yeah, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Maybe that should be my next t-shirt launch for Countess of Shop. Not really. I'm just joking. But what I do want to not joke about is the social component of this too, right? Because we're not just beings of like, we're not just robots. Like this, and for me and the framework in which I come from with my 106-pound weight loss is, how do I make this sustainable and lifelong? I'll probably be on this medication my whole life. because obesity is a disease. It's going to need, not probably, more with the information I have right now, it does need ongoing weight management. So how do I best aid and support that? And so for me, going back to systems in place, environments in place to help when I'm having peak appetite suppression and when I'm peak hungry. You know, this is important for me too. My husband and I right now are in a very, and I've shared about this in my other video with my weight gain video, my Zepbound weight gain video, of how I've gained some weight because of stress. Is my environment best setting me up to handle that stress? Because it is, but for a season, I very much lean into Ecclesiastes, and I'm not asking you to subscribe to my belief system, I'm not, but you can look at spring, fall, winter, summer, of things change, right? The leaves on the trees here in Virginia, we have fall foliage that drops, and then there's barren leaves, and right now there's beautiful blooming leaves on there, and there's different seasons. So in my season of my life that I'm in right now is very stressful, and so setting up additional safety nets for that, then adding on this, can be a little bit overwhelming. And so if you're in that pocket, taking an honest appraisal, a bird's eye view, like looking down on it, like, okay, if this was a friend, what would I encourage them to do? So if you could tell yourself, okay, if this was a bestie talking to me, what would I encourage them to do? And many of you guys do this with me too. You're like, bestie, like X, Y, and Z. And I can easily do it for you, but when you guys do it for me, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. It's very helpful. And so I want to encourage you with that too. What would you tell a best friend who was on a GLP-1 medication going through this? Of what you're doing, does that best make sense? That's loving, kind, gracious, and also setting you up to best meet your health goals. I got health goals that I got to meet. Literally, it became abundantly clear to me this weekend. I was flying on airplanes. I did a two-city tour. I went from Virginia to Las Vegas to Austin, Texas, and Austin, Texas back to my home on a lot of airplanes, a lot of planes, trains, and automobiles. And having to move, I had 2 big suitcases because I was filming a bunch for clients. And so I had equipment and my outfits and my makeup and my hair and all that needed to come with me. And so I had 2 big suitcases plus my big Vuitton with me, my handbag, my big bag. So it was a lot. And I was schlepping at some point. Yes, I did have like bellmen and stuff like that helping me, which was amazing. But it's still some pockets of, I had to carry that. It was very eye-opening to me. I had gotten so much stronger because of my weight training that have helped me on this journey. But also it was very evident to me, like I could pull my suitcases off, and they're heavy, man. They were like 70 pounds because I can have that weight limit. 70 pounds. I could pull it off the suitcase thing that goes around easily. And I was actually helping other women too. I'm like, do you want me to help you with your suitcase? And you would yank it off and help them because they were struggling. I'm like, let me just get it for you. And I did. And so, and maybe hopefully that wasn't annoying to the people I was helping, but noticing that weight training and this physical change in this past year and celebrating that non-scale victory for me, huge. That these tools are best setting me up to help with the real world. And so that's what I also want to go back to for day 5, day 6, day 7. In your real world, is it best supporting you? Is it best helping you to meet those goals in which you have? And for me right now, one of the things is I still have very lofty goals, but I'm not pushing it as much as I had been. Just not going to do it. It's not the season I'm in right now. If I add one more thing on my plate, I may have a nervous breakdown, not literally, but kind of like I'm just trying to handle, not just because that's a diminishing word, I'm handling the marbles and beans in which I've got. And I want to do a good job with those. And so if it takes me a little bit longer to lose this last 20-ish pounds, some of it is muscle mass. I've gained muscle. Many of you guys have commented on that, and thank you, by the way. I'm like, you're right, I have gained muscle. But there still is noticeable weight on an honest appraisal, I still have weight I need to lose. I carry it mostly on my thighs and the hip area. The top, like an hourglass. So the bottom part, which sometimes you guys just don't see, which is why I like to show my full body pictures. But it's creepy if you ask me for a full body shot, don't do that. But I still try to show them to give an accurate representation and appraisal. What I'm trying to say, the point in which I'm trying to make is if it takes me longer to lose this 20-ish pounds, setting my expectations up to properly best serve myself in that. If it takes me a half a pound per week to get there, I'm going to get there. If it takes me 2 pounds per week, I'm going to get there. A pound per week, I'm going to get there. I can put in for the things I can control and things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference. Really, I can't control very many things though. But there is a lot of things I can control. And so going back to day 5, day 6, day 7, we know the data now. And now this comes a turning point. We stood at a turning point. Which way are you going to go, left or right? You now have the information to make educated decisions, to take with you to help propel you. I promised you, and I hope I kept my promise, you now have the tools to be a rocket ship to maximize that day 5, day 6, day 7, and to maximize day 2, day 3, day 4. Of course, track. You can use my free tracker on my free printable on countessofshopping.com, also linked in the description link below. You use the data to best propel you forward with it, of what makes the best sense for you too. And some people's goals are super aggressive. 2 pounds per week. And like mine, I'm like, if I can do a half a pound per week, I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back. I think that's amazing. And also not gaining during this season. But it's but for a season, it's gonna pass. It's all gonna pass. Like, it just keeps going. It's going to pass. Hello, I'm in my 40s and I've realized that I'm like, stuff just keeps going. It just does. So I hope this video has encouraged you. Now, your accountability question, what are you doing today to move you closer to your goals? Tell me down below. And I do emojis of the day. It helps me to get to know you better because I care. Our emoji of the day is a dog in honor of Mr. Freddy. Put that down below if you've made it to this point in the video. The pattern recognition of seeing your name pop up over and over and over will help me to get to know you better. And our community spotlight members today, I just looked on the YouTube community. I don't pick this, YouTube does, is Martha, Lisa, Michelle, and Sarah. I love you guys so super much, and you guys are the community spotlight members of the week. I gotta go unpack my suitcases. It's a lot to unpack over there and a lot of laundry to do. And I gotta get this bed getting all set up too. But let's smash day 5, day 6, day 7. Make sure if you just started this journey, you're like, I'm gonna be traveling soon. Use my Amazon shopping list down below to help you. I have handpicked out and spent a lot of my own money testing products that are best to support Zepbound weight loss. So check those out down below. Make sure you share this video with your bestie. If you've got someone who's just starting GLP-1 medication, like Zepbound or Mounjaro, or has been on for some time, share this video with them too. I love you guys. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings because life is delicious. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.